Hey friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Noelle Ames, and today I'm going to talk about how to set boundaries around your phone and social media. So this isn't all inclusive. Some days I'm like, I just want to get rid of all social media and that's the only solution. But I think these tips will help you get a little bit more on a healthy track in regards to your phone and social media usage. Now, I want to start off by saying you need to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It will blow your mind and it will just allow you to see that we're living in a time that is so unique and it's so different than anything we've ever experienced before. So if you're feeling kind of shameful about how you have struggled setting boundaries around these things, like, you're not alone. It's a very common thing. It shouldn't be normalized though. I think it's something that we do need to fix, and it's a really big problem and it's affecting us on so many different levels. And because it's so new, I don't think we even have the research out there to show really how much it's affecting us mentally, physically, financially, emotionally. Like, I can't even go there because I just want to help you. So I have found some things that have helped me, and I just want to share those with you. So first, watch that documentary or series or whatever it is, Social Dilemma on Netflix. It will blow your mind and it will just kind of wake you up a little bit, which is healthy. And then, so what I do, some things that I practice, is having a social media or phone cleanse day. So I will delete the apps off of my phone because, you guys, again, like, you can't trust yourself. You have gotten into the habit of using your phone of, whenever something isn't going on, you will grab your phone to fill that void. It's a habit now. It may be an addiction even. And so just being like, oh, I just won't go on my phone today, sometimes is not enough for most of us. If you can do that, like, power to you. I cannot, even though I really, really want to. Like, all of my intention is there and I still end up grabbing my phone or going on the app. So whenever I'm having like a social media cleanse day, so it's a day that I don't have to work or do anything on the social media platform, and I can just take a day, usually like Sunday on the weekends. And it doesn't mean you can't take photos. It just means that I'm not going on the app. So I will delete the app off my phone so the temptation isn't even there. And then I will just go about my day without it. And you guys, when you do this for the first time, you're going to be surprised how many times you try to go into the app. Like, again, it's become a habit. It's become this subconscious thing that you do without knowing you're doing it. And so making that extra step to get there is just going to make you wake up a little bit more and become present and be like, oh, I'm grabbing my phone for social media right now. So having those cleanse days once a week, twice a week, honestly, I think we should be doing it every single day. But you know what I mean? Like, scheduling those in, it's really helpful. And the day after I've done that, I feel so much more emotionally clear and just ready to tackle the day. So that is my first tip. Number 2 is I'm breaking this rule right now to make this video, but don't bring your phone into your bedroom. So have a charging station downstairs, buy an alarm clock for like $5 and have the alarm clock in your room so you obviously can get up at a time that you need to. But charging your phone downstairs, I find that we use our phones the most in the morning, like right when we wake up, which is just horrible, right? We're just flooding our mind with all this nonsense before our mind even gets a chance to just like wake up. And then right before bed. So we're not only like, this is, again, affecting us in so many different ways. At night, it's sacrificing your sleep, right? Your body naturally falls asleep when it gets dark and, is conducive to sleeping. But if you have this bright screen in front of you until you literally pass out, that is not healthy. And you will get better sleep if you just leave your phone downstairs. Same thing in the mornings. Like, having your screen be the first thing that you absorb and all of that noise and agendas everyone has that they're throwing at you, it's not healthy, right? No wonder we're anxious and we're depressed. Like the first thing that we're seeing is everybody doing all these different things and accomplishing all these different things, and like no wonder we're just like wake up in panic, right? Just give yourself a moment, right? You can have your phone downstairs, and by the time you get there, everything's gonna be fine. No one's gonna, the world isn't gonna end without you being on social media for, whenever you go to bed to when you wake up. Okay. And maybe you take that a step further and you do something that fills your mind in the mornings and fills your mind before bed, aka reading a book. I mean, people used to do it all the time. I love reading before I go to bed and first thing when I wake up. And it doesn't have to be a whole book. Like it can be a chapter, or maybe, again, don't use your phone, so don't go on Pinterest, but like having maybe you print out a quote on your mirror. So before you grab your phone, you go to your bathroom and you have this mirror full of quotes that remind you like what you do want in your life and what you do want to think about. And maybe you put your goals up there. Like this sounds crazy, but like it's so good for your mind to be reminded where you do want to go with your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings and your intentions and your actions, rather than social media telling you or the text message that you received. Right? It's a game changer, you guys. Do it. It's amazing. Okay, another tip that I have is ruthlessly unfollow. You do not need to unfollow anybody for any reason, whether they're a family member or they're a best friend from high school, or they're, like it doesn't matter what connection that you have to these people. Maybe they are inspirational and they're doing something that you do want to accomplish. Still, if you look at that picture or whatever they posted, or you're watching their stories and it doesn't make you feel better than when you didn't look at it, like before you looked at it, you unfollow them. Now, if you feel uncomfortable with that, they now have this mute button or mute option where you can go to their profile and you can mute their stories and their posts so that you don't see them. You're still following them. You can still go check in on them, but you do not have to see their content showing up every single time you come on the app. You guys, this is night and day. I am becoming a mom, and so I went out and I didn't think anything bad about it. I didn't think like I was sacrificing my mental health when I did this, but I went out and I followed all of these mom bloggers. And yes, they have so much amazing content out there. They have so many like different tricks and tools and gadgets that I'm like, wow, that could be really helpful. But you guys, I woke up one morning and I was so overwhelmed. It was about a week after I had, because I followed them all at once. It was about a week after I had followed all of them at once. I was just absorbing their content, constantly looking at their stuff, just because I was on the app and that's what was showing up. And it was about a week after that I woke up and I was like, I am so anxious. Why am I so anxious? And I was like, oh my God. Like I have been being told to buy this, to do this, to read this book, to take this course, to know this about your kids, like so much stuff that my brain was like on overload. So that's why I'm saying is like, I'm giving you permission. Like it's not saying that person isn't valuable or amazing or empowering or inspiring, but like we only have so much mental energy, and when you're spending it consumed by all of these different things that you should do, your brain is like, what the frick? Like we've never had this much information and stuff being thrown at us. Like we haven't, right? Like we read the newspaper and that's what was like the drama for the day. Now we have like just so much at our fingertips. So now it's up to us to set those boundaries and to set those filters so that we aren't being bombarded by too much where our brain is just like intoxicated. So I went out and I ruthlessly unfollowed every single one of them. And I wrote down their Instagram handles because they do have a lot of amazing stuff that I love to look at. But now when I set time to to indulge in that, to look into their stuff, I just go to their page. They're all public pages, so I don't need to follow them. And I will go look, and that I will be consciously, hey, I'm going to take 30 minutes or an hour. And I'll set a timer on my phone to look into their stuff and to just find out what they're doing and catch up. But to have that always be on my phone at all times was way too much. And so maybe this is happening for you. And again, it can be like, we just have to look at the reality of this. And like most of those bloggers, most of the really, really influential people on Instagram are getting paid to show you something. They're getting paid to advertise. They're advertisements, right? So it's like having ads just thrown at you 24/7. Like that's not good for anyone. And if your bank account is hurting because of it, I am with you. But again, it's not this victim mindset to say it's just the way the world is. Instead, take responsibility for that and set the boundaries. So another tip that I already kind of mentioned was set timers. When you go on your phone, set a timer for yourself. Be like your own coach. Say, okay, we have 30 minutes to spend on Instagram, and go ahead. You set a 30-minute timer. When that timer's up, you're done, right? Because oftentimes we will go into these apps when we're trying to escape the moment or escape our priorities or escape our to-do list, right? And so instead of being like, no Instagram, no Facebook, instead of that, be like, okay, at this time of the day, if you have a really busy day, maybe you say, okay, this free time right here, I'm going to allot 30 minutes to myself to go just explore the internet. And that sounds crazy, but I think that's not crazy. And what's actually crazy is how much time we do spend on social media and on our phones without knowing it, right? Like we think 30 minutes, setting a timer for 30 minutes is a lot, or maybe we don't. And even just doing that act seems crazy to us. But you guys, like if you actually were the observer of yourself, like if you were just your best friend that just observed you on a day where you weren't interacting with anyone and you were just totally up to your own devices, you would look at yourself and be like, that girl is addicted to her phone and she is whack, right? Like she doesn't spend any time in the present moment because she's constantly pulling out her phone. So setting timers is an amazing way to know how much you are spending on your phone, to set that boundary of, okay, I have 30 minutes to give to my phone right now. And then you can just be, fun about it. You can look at whatever and do whatever. But, if you're not doing that, you're probably spending way more than 30 minutes on your phone. Okay. This is the last tip, and this is a huge one, and this is going to change the game for you. And it's going to impact your life in so many more ways than just like social media boundaries. So ask yourself why. Every time you reach for your phone, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Another tip I want to add into here before I dive into that is turn off all notifications. So I don't get any notifications from Instagram on my phone. I don't get any notifications from Facebook. The only notifications I get are texts and calls. And even then, I have turned my text onto silent. So I just get the notification on my phone, but I don't get like a buzz. Calls are really the only thing that I need to have alert me, because that's probably something that's more urgent. But when someone's texting me or DMing me on Instagram or, liking a picture or commenting or like that, I can get to all of that when I have my 30 minutes of social media time. It's not urgent, right? If someone really needs to get into contact with me, they will call me. And if they don't need me, and I don't need to be pulled away from the present moment to check it. Right? We think, like, we have been conditioned to believe that whenever our phone lights up, we have to touch it right then and there. And if not right then and there, probably 10 minutes later, 5 minutes later. That's not reality. Like, you don't have to touch your phone. We have just become so conditioned to being of service to our phones rather than our phones being of service to us. And it's insane. So turn off all notifications. You don't need to have the notifications posting on your front page. When you go into the app, when you step into your text messages, they're all going to be there. They will still be there. And then you can respond and save yourself a lot of emotional energy and just stay in the present moment. Okay, that's a little side note. I hope you're taking notes because I'm all over the place. But this is the key one. Ask yourself why. So whenever you reach for your phone, ask yourself, why am I reaching for my phone right now? Do I need to indulge in my phone right now? Is this an appropriate time to do that? Right? And I really noticed this whenever I would go to the bathroom or whenever I would be by myself for a moment. So like say, I was out to eat with someone and then they went to the bathroom and I was there for a hot moment and it was like uncomfortable and like I'm sitting by myself and I would reach for my phone to, get some sort of comfort and feel like I'm not alone and kind of dip out of that present moment so I can, be consumed by my phone and make believe that I'm not uncomfortable. It's still practice it. I am not at all perfect at this, but when I first started, I was like shook. I was like, oh my gosh, I reach for my phone every time I get a little uncomfortable in the present moment, right? Like I'm waiting in line. I am waiting in the waiting room for my prenatal appointments. I am, in traffic, or just all these like in between moments that you can stay present with, you don't have to dip out of, are usually when I will pull out my phone just because, for no good reason. When I ask myself why, that's why, is because I don't want to be uncomfortable or I feel awkward or, I'm just like, what else could I do, right? And so instead of doing that, I've used those moments as a time to practice presence. Now, you guys, again, this is going to seem so weird, but it's so weird that we don't do this because this used to be how we lived every single moment of our lives, in the present moment. And so instead of, going into my phone and indulging, when I ask myself why, and it's something that's not needed, not necessary, which is 99% of the time I grab my phone, I will instead set my phone down and say, how can I become more present in this moment? And so if there's something going on outside of me, I can take that in, right? If I am in a restaurant, I can start looking at other people and observing the environment that I am. Are there TVs on? Are there, there's obviously other people around me. Or if I'm in a waiting room, I can, for goodness sake, start a conversation with someone. Like that is so uncomfortable, but it's so normal and it's how we used to literally live in this world. And that's why we have become so disconnected and we feel so isolated and alone, is because these moments that have just organically always been there for us to connect with other people have now been replaced by a device that we feel comfortable in the moment with, but then we go home and we feel isolated and alone and like we had no connection that day. Okay, well, what if you just took those moments again to ask yourself why and then to practice presence? So ways you do this is by taking in whatever the moment is. Now, that can be something outside of you, that can be like your environment. So maybe you're outside, you can start to look at what's going on around you. It's an amazing concept. It's really not that hard. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's really simple. Or if there's nothing really going on outside of you, you can start to tune into what's going on inside of you. What does your body feel like? If you are, say, on a walk, feel what it feels like when your feet hit the ground. Feel what your shoulders are. Do you have good posture? Feel your breath. Your breath is a direct path to presence. So like I said, in traffic, stopped traffic, I would always pull out my phone and like change the station or do something dumb, like look on Instagram and stories. And instead, now I leave my phone where it's at and I start to breathe. I start to feel what my breath feels like, my inhales, my exhales. Maybe I put some, meaning into it. I'll say, okay, 4-second inhales, hold at the top, 4-second exhales. And I'll do this on walks. I'll do this in the waiting room. I'll do this while I'm going to the bathroom. I'll do this. All those moments where I want to grab my phone now are a trigger, instead of a trigger to numb and, just get out of the present moment and to just, oh no, I'm going to slip. Don't knock over. Okay, instead of a moment to disconnect, now it's a moment of connection. Now it's a moment either of connection with myself, like I said, going into my inner body, going into my breath, or going into my environment, or a connection with someone else. I can't even tell you guys how many times this has given me the opportunity to connect with someone, whether it be in the grocery store line. You guys, it used to be so normal that everyone in the lines was chatting it up, telling them about their grandkids and what they did that day. And I have found so many moments that are so fulfilling. When I leave those moments, I'm like, wow, this is working. Like, this feels so much better than me just numbing out on my phone would have ever felt. Like, even when I'm sitting in traffic and I end up getting home, I'm like, wow, I feel so much better and more present and just good. It is so good for the soul. So I know you want to be on your phone. I'm not over here saying like give up all social media and that, some social media usage can't be good in a way, that you can't get something out of it. I think that it has its place, but I think it's lost its place. I think that it just organically kind of took over our entire lives. And so what I'm proposing is that we need to take responsibility for the fact that it has gotten out of control, and it's up to us to set those regulations and those boundaries and those healthy parameters around social media and our phones so we can feel good in our lives again. Okay? I worry. I just really worry. And again, I don't want to go there. I want to make this a positive, actionable thing. But like, you guys, if we don't start doing these things, our mental health is going to suffer. Our emotional health is going to suffer. Our physical health is going to suffer. Our connection with other people and the world is going to suffer. Like, there is so much goodness in this life, in the present moment, that your phone could never, ever give you. Ever. It's not meant to. It could never. So just remind yourself of that. Maybe you practice a few of these things. Thank you so much for watching this. If this has helped you at all, please share it with your friends. Again, thank you so much for being here. Maybe you like this video. Maybe you subscribe. I would love that. Your support means everything to me. All right. See you guys.